welcome to the program Out in Front. She stunned an entire nation when she was crowned Miss Cameroon in 1991. And if you think that was her first big win, she went on to prove that beauty can go with brains. 22 years later on, I caught up with her at her residence at Brookville Lakes Court in Maryland in the United States of America. And guess what? She is an OBGYN surgeon, practicing in the Montgomery County in Maryland. She is married to Dr. MAKIA, and together they have 2 kids. Dr. Aretha is from Manfi, Manu Division in the southwest region of Cameroon. Hello and welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Not bad at all, doing great.
Now tell me, you left Cameroon in 1993. You had just been made Miss Cameroon 1991. The advantages, the attention, the love, it was still there. But you took a decision. You came to America on a vacation that changed your life forever. You want to tell me about your coming to America experience?
It was, I would say March of 1993, and I had done Miss Cameroon, and I had done a lot of philanthropic work in Cameroon. I'm raising funds for this province, and I'm raising funds for another province. But whilst I'm doing all of that, there's people watching me, you know, like I didn't know, right? So I had this guy call me one evening. I lived in the Minicité in Yaoundé because I was in Guayaquil. I lived in Minicité Manguier, and he tells me, hey, there's this guy, there's a friend of mine in the United States who says he wants to talk to you. I'm like, well, that's kind of far-fetched. I'm still trying to deal with the guys here. So I said, okay, I'll talk to him.
Okay.
He gave me his accolades. His name is Dr. MAKIA. He's a nice guy. He heard about you. Apparently, he's heard about you from 2-3 people. So he kind of just buckled down and said, let me talk to this girl.
Yeah.
So he gave him my number and he called me. And we started talking. This guy called me every day from America. So long and short, he said, I'll invite you to the United States. Got on the plane. I got here August 9th of 1993. Walked through that airport and saw him. I was like, oh my goodness, he even looks better live. I said, this is not a bad idea. So we drove up home through his gate. One week he pulls out the ring and he says, you know, the typical, would you marry me? We joked so much that even a serious situation like that for me was a joke. So he says, will you marry me? And I was like, let me see. What if you insist? And that was it. And it's been 24 years. So that's how I came to America. So I had done my master's. I was going to go back to do my doctorate. Yeah. But all of this just happened. And
there you
here we are.
Now, here you are, an OBGYN surgeon. A lot of people would have thought, like, you came to America, you were married to a physician, and all of us, we know who physicians are and how comfortable their life can be. You were in that comfort. What will make you go back to school?
I think it goes back into my background. My father is an attorney. My mom used to work with the government. So I had parents who were educated. My dad would always tell me that your education is your first husband. And even when I won Miss Cameroon, and I went to him and he looked at me and laughed, he says, your beauty can only take you this far. But your brain is going to keep you in the room. Your beauty will open all the doors, but your brain will keep you in there. Education is the key to everything. And that word key is very crucial to this statement. Because when you have a key, you can open doors. If you could come up to Brookville and tell them, I own this house. If you don't have the key to the house, you ain't getting in. So education is a key to every part of this planet, maybe the universe, if you want to go that far. If you have an education, you can take it anywhere with you, and it would be relevant. Education is that tool that makes you get into any place in the world, and you can talk. If you don't have the education, you could complain, you could talk as much as you want. They would listen to you to a certain extent. But with the education, you could just sit and people would ask you, what do you think? But if you don't have that, I see that with myself. You know, sometimes I will walk into an operating room and the nurses would say, Dr. MAKIA is here, Dr. MAKIA is here. The case is not going to go if Dr. MAKIA is not there. And I tell my kids all the time, I said, I don't think it's because I'm pretty or I have the right lipstick. It's because I have the education. They didn't give me the job. If I just showed up and said, oh, I'm Miss Cameroon and I've done this. No, they don't give you the kind of job that I'm doing because of your looks or because of who you are. Oh, my dad is a lawyer. Can you give me, you cannot be qualified from somebody else's qualification. You have to make your own self relevant. And when you make yourself relevant, then you can help people. You can't be a fighter for people when you have not built your own base. Like, so when I got here, I still had that mindset. I have a journey. You know, when I walked into this house, it's beautiful, but that's his journey. That's what drove me to come in here and say, okay. And he asked me, he says, what would you like to study? I said, I always wanted to do medicine. He said, okay, let's see what you can do. You sure you want to do it? So he came home that evening, he says, here are the classes you have to take. Biology 101, biochemistry, all the classes I've taken before. He says, are you going to do it? I said, well, I have no choice. So that morning I said, I'll do it. I went and registered into a community college. I just came from a university. Went back to a community college and took all those classes all over, almost 3.5 years. Then I did the medical college admission test, the MCAT, to go into med school. Yeah. And that's how I went to med school. It wasn't an easy journey, but...
Yeah. There's a lot of people coming here wanting to go like, I want to be an OBGYN surgeon. They need to understand what you had as training. Can you tell us more about your training?
Well, the training starts, you have to go through medical school, so that's 4 years. So you're going through an intense training. Your first and second years, you're doing more of the didactics. You're in class, you know, all day taking notes from morning till wee hours of the night, and then you have to study. And in the meantime, whilst I was in med school, I was pregnant.
Wow.
I had my 2 boys in medical school. So it was a little bit of a struggle. So it was 2 years of just didactics, and then 2 years of mostly just rotations. You're doing practicals. You're rotating in different hospitals. You're doing the different specialties, pediatrics. You're doing general surgery. You're doing endocrinology, all the different specialties. You had to do that to decide what you wanted to do as a specialization.
Okay.
Because when you finish med school, that's 4 years. You're an MD, medical doctor. You can't do anything. You have to specialize. So now, depending on what you want to do, it's another 3 to 6 years. In my case, it was 4 years to become an obstetrician gynecologist, because it's a surgical residency. And so that took me through the path of OBGYN residency. And the first day you go in there, you're called a resident because you practically live in the hospital, where you're almost like the person who does everything for everybody. You don't know anything, but you do everything. Then your second and third, by the time you get into your 4th year, you're a chief resident. You've gone through surgeries. You perform surgeries every day, all kinds of surgeries. It becomes a thing where you could close your eyes and you could perform surgery. That's how they wanted us to be. Yeah. So that was another 4 years. And then once you're done, then you're ready to take on the world in your specialty.
We want to find out the realities of your job as an OBGYN surgeon. First of all, as a woman, and second, as an African immigrant.
Well, the issue with being a woman, especially in our profession, sometimes you kind of forget, because you're getting your hands dirty like the men. When there's an emergency, you have to go in there and do an emergency cesarean section. You're not going in there as a female. You're going in there as they will call, the nurses will call you, Dr. MAKIA, this is what's going on. You're dashing out. So sometimes I really do forget that I'm a woman, except for my lipstick and my hair. I forget, because you got to jump in there and get dirty. So it's quite an involving job. But one thing I approach being OBGYN is, I signed up for it, and I love what I do. You have to love it to be able to be happy with it. Sometimes we work long hours. As residents, we used to do 36 hours straight. You'll be gone for days. And I had 2 young kids at home that sometimes I'd go for 3-4 days and I wouldn't see them. Yeah, because you come in, you go to sleep for 2 hours and you have to be back again. The United States has become, you know, especially here in America, it's very cosmopolitan.
Exactly.
So you have to let people know, here's where I'm coming from. This is who I am. So it is not for you to accept me. It is for you to deal with me in, you know, in this situation. I'm not going to I would never, you know, I would always be an African female. I was born African female. I'll always be African female.
Yeah.
And so when I meet you where you are, that's who I am. That's what I'm working with. You're going to treat me as an African woman, as an African, as a woman. I could be a multiple, triple minority, but I'm going to teach you how to treat me. Don't worry about that. I'm not trying to be you. Because I showed up like this, and I'll probably be like this until the end.
Let me take you back memory lane. I'm talking precisely 1991 when you were crowned Miss Cameroon. Now, first of all, you were an Anglophone in a Francophone part of the country. You were English speaking, and beauty pageant is not in our culture, but you decided to enroll into the Miss Cameroon beauty pageant. Can you tell me what motivated you? Tell me a little bit about this experience.
I come from a family of women who like beauty and fashion. I had cousins and aunts who were always in the fashion industry. And I did a lot of modeling before. They had little, you know, modeling shows that were going on, and I would sign up for and do some modeling. And I had a cousin of mine who lived in Douala, because the pageant was held in Douala by Lions Club International. So she called me one day, she's like, oh, there's this pageant that is going on, and I want you to sign up for it.
Yeah.
So I drove down from Yaoundé to Douala, and we went to the office where they were doing the signing. So I walked in there, and the lady was, oh, elle est très jolie comme fille, mais elle est très belle. Donc on va te peser ici là. So they were gonna weigh me, and my cousin is sitting there, and the lady's like, mais elle pèse trop, elle pèse un peu trop. Elle est très belle comme fille. She's very beautiful like a girl, but the weight has to be down a little bit. Come back in 2 weeks, because we still had time. All right, so my cousin, we got in the car, and she drove straight to the boulangerie patisserie. She got some yogurt, she got some eggs. She boiled the eggs. She says, you're gonna eat eggs and yogurt for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yep, and that's what I did, and some water. We did that. 2 weeks, we went back there. It was like, oh my God, perfect weight. Yes. So I was signed up, but now I had to practice.
Yeah.
I would sit down literally a whole day. After class, I would do my homework, I'll sit down, and I would beauty pageant. So I was ready. I was like, I'm gonna give it my all. Now, I come from the Anglophone region, like you said. We didn't do beauty pageants then. When you did a beauty pageant, you were, you know, they thought
Call
you
names.
Yeah, they'll call you names. She's not well brought up, she's from a bad home. So I didn't tell my parents, long and short. My parents didn't know I was doing a beauty pageant, and the goal was, if I win, fine. Then I got $1 million francs. I can pay off my dad. No, I can pay off people. You know, forgive me for doing the pageant.
Exactly.
If I don't win, this never happened.
Exactly.
And so we go in there, and I've practiced my stuff, and my English and French are kind of good. So, but they called my name. You know, she's from the Southwest, and the MC asked me a question, and he asked me a question in English, but then I answered that question in flawless French. I mean, I remember the governor of Littoral, then he stood up.
Wow.
And he got fluent French, and everybody was like, what? Didn't they just say she was from the English-speaking
side of the country?
Yeah, because I have gone to university,
Yeah.
I have learned to speak French, and I want to represent my country. And I think that's what, I mean, there's the looks, but they were beautiful girls too. It was equal opportunity. And so I had to find a way to beat these girls. If it were beauty, I wasn't doing much. But I think that kind of put me in a different level for myself. So they called the second runner-up and the first runner-up, and then they called my name, and the crowd everybody was just screaming. The reality struck me when the president of Lions Club walked off the stage and handed me a check of $1 million francs.
At that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh, we're talking about a lot of money.
I was 22. And the next day the papers wrote, Aretha OBENSON, billionaire at 22.
You got that crown put on your head. For you, was it like confidence, I merit this? Or somehow you felt like, okay, I've had my little revenge on all those people who used to call me like petite Anglos. They don't know anything about fashion.
Yeah.
How did you feel at that point in time?
You know, at that point in time, I had become comfortable in where I was. When we went somewhere, they would introduce me as voilà notre sœur anglophone. And everybody's waiting for me to pull out some really big English, and I start speaking French with them. So it was more of a welcoming thing. You know, you've come here, although we've called you Anglos, you've adopted our culture, and you're actually sitting comfortable. Some of the parents in Littoral and in the Central Province began to tell their children, you got to learn English. We have to speak 2 languages in this country. Voilà la Miss Cameroun qui parle anglais et elle parle français aussi. Donc on va parler les 2 langues. And that's how we started that journey of we have to speak both languages. You know, because you have to be part of the country.
26 years later, you are still wearing the crown. You still have a drop-dead gorgeous body. You're a fashionista. You're on top of your game. You want to tell me what you do to stay this way? To look this way?
Lots of work. They work me to death. I work. That's what I tell people. I work around the clock. That's how you know, if you want to keep a certain size, work around the clock. Exercise. I do a lot of exercise. Not too much, just enough. So I go walking. My husband and I get up at 5:30 every morning and we go walking for 40 minutes, we go walking for an hour. And then also, you know, just what I eat, food. You know, what you put in is what the world will see. And as you get older, the metabolism is dropping. Move a little bit, but you have to watch the knees.
Now, you're often described as the Queen of Queens. You've got a wonderful heart. You take part in a lot of humanitarian activities. You support the projects of your brothers here, one of which is the Miss Cameroon USA Beauty Pageant. You want to tell me about this other side of you, the side that, you know, is her brother's keeper?
Well, when someone is defined, that this is the way I see it, as having this much, I always look at it as he who created me and created everybody. Call him whatever you want to call him. There's definitely somebody higher than us. So if he gives me, I know he's giving me to pass it on.
Yeah.
I can't keep it with me. So that's how I look at it. The gift that I have is not mine. You know, I'm just a vehicle. He's trying to get from point A to point B, and he's using me, you know, as a GPS. And every time I look at what these little girls, let's start with the girls who do Miss Cameroon. The country has jewels. These little girls are amazing. I have mentored them. I have watched them practice. I have watched them build their platforms. Anywhere from whatever they do in the community here, some of them even go back home to create a platform back home. Whatever they have to do. Is it school uniforms? Is it women's issues? Is it orphanages? These little girls would go and you know, create a platform, bring in videos, and we would watch them. The pride that these children have shown for their country is one of the reasons why I keep doing this.
Now let's talk family life. You're married to Dr. MAKIA, and you people have 2 children. You're a very busy woman. All of us, we know that being a physician in this country is no joke. You're very busy. You're involved in other humanitarian works. You're left, you're right. How do you make time for family?
Time for family is quality. It's not quantity. You get to a point in your life where quantity is abundance, but if you don't have that, you create quality time. So you make the time that you spend with family count. And so when I get into the house, I am mom, I am wife. Our conversation is circled around the children, around family, around things that we like. We'll joke about everything and nothing.
There are a lot of people who are living a human experience with you. I'm talking about family, I'm talking about your colleagues, I'm talking about your friends. And they said few words about you, and maybe we talk a little bit afterwards. Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dr. MAKIA exudes elegance, grace, and a kind spirit. I've known her for but a short period of time, but from the time we met, we've bonded. She exudes this empowerment for women coming along behind her. It's not often that we have strong leaders, especially women and black women, that we can look up to and honor and follow.
Aretha came to our organization straight out of residency. She came in and she was quiet and polite and nice and happy, and we were in a very tough office as far as the amount of patients we were seeing, the level of acuity of their illnesses. And I was looking at her like, will this girl make it? And within 2 weeks, she had a full schedule. She's running up and down the hall. She's making sure everybody gets everything they need. First I hear English, then I hear French, then I hear Spanish. I'm like, excuse me, how many languages do you speak? I think it was 3 years I worked with her before I really realized that she was really Miss Cameroon. That just tells you what kind of person she is. It's about what she is. It's not about all of this. It's about who she is and what she is.
24 years ago when we met, it was a work in progress. And I think after all these years, I find that the most important thing is that she's my friend. Aretha is straight arrow, and whatever you see is what you get. She's very, very kind to a fault. Sometimes I wonder why she does certain things, and that's the way she is. She's a very smart person. You know, I am a professor of medicine, and when I met her 24 years ago, one thing that struck me was that she was more intelligent than she was beautiful. That's why I married her immediately.
All right, Dr. Aretha, it was nice having you for the first part, but I'm going to take you to the second part, which is known as Tic-Tac. Are you ready? Dr. Aretha OBENSON, your strength.
Endurance.
Your weakness.
Free-spirited.
One thing America has taken away from you and one thing America has given you.
Time with my country. America has taken away the time I've spent with my country. America has given me the resources to be the best I can.
One thing nobody knows about you.
I do a lot of fasting and soul searching.
What animal would you have loved to be if you were not a human, and why?
The butterfly, so I could fly away whenever I want to.
What do you miss most back home in Cameroon?
The beautiful culture, beautiful people, laid back, but still hardworking.
Back home friends you want to say hi to?
There's Lillian Sewole, there's Patience Gua, there's Kate Shea, and there's Christine, Mantubang Edia, ton of them, but I can't,
Okay.
All of my friends, hi.
All right, food on your mind.
Pork fried rice and some shrimp.
You speak the dialect.
Wunariri, that's my dialect. Makarna, that's the central.
Music on your mind. Oh, that's nice, Not only are you beautiful and intelligent, you're also a singer. We can start thinking about a singing career, right? It was so nice having you on the program. I'm so blessed to have you because a lot of people were wondering where you are. Right now they know that you're doing great, you're doing fine. You know, we hope to see you very soon in Cameroon.
Oh, I'll come back. I'll come back.
All right.
Come visiting.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that we come to the end of today's edition of the program. Hope to see you next time.